I actually didn't recognize my own voice. It sounded different. Whether I had a cold or something at the time, I don't know. But I was astonished. And all they saw was the back of my shoulder and I think my earlobe, nothing else.
That awesome clip that you just saw of Patrick Stewart is him seemingly confirming at long last that he is in fact involved in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There's a lot more to this video, which comes from Jake Take's YouTube channel, where Jake Hamilton was interviewing Patrick Stewart and snuck in an awesome question about Multiverse of Madness, and Patrick Stewart finally opened up and spoke the truth. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm your host, Chris, and if you've been keeping up to speed, then you know Patrick Stewart was seemingly featured in the newest Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness trailer that came out during the Super Bowl. There was not a 100% confirmed knowledge of this, but the voice that came from this part right here,
"We should tell him the truth,"
was immediately distinguished by fans who have watched Professor X, played by Patrick Stewart, on the big screen for several years. Now, originally he was playing very coy with responses such as these.
The Doctor Strange trailer, can you comment on that at all?
Who's Doctor Strange?
And this coyness and these very interesting answers only pushed us even further to believe that he was in the film. But we didn't get an actual confirmation, nor did we expect to, as it's probably outside of his power to confirm or deny whether or not he is in the film. However, it seems like Disney has made up their mind and decided, go for it, Patrick. Everybody already thinks you're in the movie. You can probably say something about it now. And in this latest interview, he had all of this to say about his time being in Multiverse of Madness and his experience of the fans' reactions.
I was wondering if you could take me back to Super Bowl Sunday a few weeks back. You're watching the game, you're trying to enjoy yourself, everyone on the planet's watching it, and then a commercial comes on for a Marvel movie in which someone kind of sounds like you. How quickly does your phone go off, and is there any part of you that thinks, I really just want to watch the game. I wasn't prepared for this.
Well, I had my phone turned off as it happened, and so I didn't hear anything. It wasn't until the next morning when I woke up and looked at my phone and found that I had been bombarded with responses, and that my PR people had sent me reactions that they had detailed and passed on to me. And I actually didn't recognize my own voice. It sounded different. Whether I had a cold or something at the time, I don't know. But I was astonished. And all they saw was the back of my shoulder and I think my earlobe, nothing else, that there would have been so many connections made. But it pleased me.
Saying specifically, as you just heard, that he had his phone turned off and he didn't hear anything, and that the next morning he woke up bombarded with information from his PR people who had sent him reactions that they had detailed and passed on to him. He even says he didn't recognize his own voice, that it sounded different, saying maybe he had a cold or something at the time and that he doesn't remember. But he was astonished that all they saw, us the fans, was the back of his shoulder and maybe his earlobe, nothing else. There would have been so many connections made, but it pleased me. So the connections he's referring to here must be what it is exactly he's doing in this movie. What are the connections? Is it the Fox universe Professor X? Is it a variant Professor X? It's kind of crazy that after all of this time of him denying it, saying I was just at home watching football, it couldn't have been me, or who's Doctor Strange? All of these cheeky answers that he's giving us that pretty much are confirming for us, well, he knows something here, but never gave us the full answer. Well, now he's just full on admitted to it, saying he was very excited to get the reactions. He's surprised how quickly everybody recognized him. He didn't even recognize his own voice. And as awesome as it is to hear him finally openly admit whether he was given permission from Disney or he made a mistake in this interview, I'm not sure. Hopefully he got permission from Disney and this isn't going to be a huge problem for him. Not that I imagine it really would be. They basically already confirmed this for us in the trailer. But the ending part of what he says here is very, very important. There would have been so many connections made, but it pleased me. He digresses from this sentence saying, it makes me happy to see how excited everybody was, to see everybody's reaction, and overall probably to be a part of the MCU, which truly is one of the biggest cinematic universes, one of the biggest franchises, and cinema magic out there in the world. And I believe Professor X probably knows this, or should I say Patrick Stewart. But this final sentence here, the connections that he's referring to, there would have been so many connections made just off of his shoulder and his earlobe. People recognized his voice, they recognized his character, and they recognized that he belonged in the Illuminati, which was also all but confirmed in that same trailer. We've spoken also and kind of deliberated amongst ourselves, is this actually Professor X from the Fox universe? Or is this going to be a variant? What were the conditions that Patrick Stewart made with Kevin Feige, with Marvel and Disney, in order to return to play this role? We all know that he specifically said a year and a half ago Kevin Feige reached out to him, but he turned them down because they did Logan. And Hugh Jackman said the same. They put the characters to bed. Both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman finished their character's journey in Logan, which, if you've seen it, we know they tragically die. So what was it that convinced Patrick Stewart to come back and play this cameo role? Because I don't believe he will be the permanent Professor X of the MCU, and this will be his only, or one of his only appearances as this character in the MCU. And if Hugh Jackman, although he's been reported to not be involved in the film, does also make an appearance with his buddy Patrick Stewart, well, that would also be one of his only cameos as well. And it would be very brief, and hopefully it does include Ryan Reynolds, so we can put that all to bed and move forward with the mutants and X-Men in the MCU, who hopefully will be getting their own birth, their own origin story, and it's going to be amazing when that finally does hit the big screen. But we can't forget that he's talking specifically about the connections we're able to make from his involvement in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and however briefly he brings it up, he is saying there are connections there to be made. So perhaps we aren't seeing a variant of Professor X. However, a Professor X from a younger time when he could have been involved in the Illuminati, and after this is all finished, he maybe retires from the Illuminati and returns to being the Professor X of the Fox universe and his ultimate closure with Logan. Now, I don't know exactly the dynamics, I don't know where they're planning on putting all of this, but it sounds like Wanda is at some point going to attack the Illuminati, and they're going to have a little bit of beef with her and with Doctor Strange. The rumors have said that Wanda actually will end up defeating the entire Illuminati, and people have translated that into Wanda is going to be killing them all off. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very, very okay not seeing Patrick Stewart's character killed off on screen, and they brought him back in this awesome and marvelous cameo to connect him to the MCU just to have a variant version of him killed by Wanda. I think that would be kind of lame and demeaning to his very iconic character. I hope that maybe he gets to escape from Wanda and makes it back to the X-Men universe, the Fox universe where he comes from, and perhaps Wanda just disbands this multiversal Illuminati, and he continues on with his life, as I mentioned, all the way through his final ending in Logan. And maybe that can even be Hugh Jackman's cameo as he appears in a portal to escort Patrick Stewart back to the Fox universe and to safety so that they can continue out living their normal lives, as we've already seen on screen. Regardless of all of those fine details, it was just exciting to get an official statement coming from Patrick Stewart himself, where he has now actually and openly admitted to being that character on screen, and not just giving us a cheeky joke about how he was watching football, or how he doesn't even know who Doctor Strange is. So we can stop worrying even the little bit we were about whether or not this is Patrick Stewart, and based off of some of his comments here, we can start wondering whether or not we're actually going to be seeing the Professor X from the Fox universe, and not just a variant recreated in order to bring him on screen. Let me know your thoughts and what you think of this statement in the comment section down below. As always, thank you to everybody who watched till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. And I'll see you guys all in the next one, right here on Cosmic Culture.